Friends, we have a whole bunch of unprecedented, crazy things that we need to report. We got a lot of updates that we need to cover. We got Joe Biden out there actually threatening disaster victims. We have a couple chemical things that we need to talk about, another couple chemical incidents. It seems like we're having these all over the place right now. I don't know what's going on, but we got to get you the news of what's going on in Idaho. We got a report coming from South Carolina about what's going on there with a disaster, and a little bit of an after action report there and the continuing effects. We got a report from one of our viewers in Florida who was prepared, and kind of what's going on with that. We got some issues over in Taiwan we need to talk about. We got a lot. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And yes, those are windmills in the background back there, but they have nothing to do with me, I promise. These are your updates, by the way. These are updates that you guys are sending in from all over the place about what's going on out there in the world. Please do keep them coming in. Use the word update in your comment if you have something to share. You can put that on this video or on any video on this channel, and make sure you give some sort of geographical location if that is appropriate. All right, so let's start off with President Biden threatening those criticizing the government response to the hurricanes. This includes the victims, yes. If you don't like how they did it, then you are the problem. And saying that anyone who criticizes the government will pay a price. So it's not just that there's delayed aid getting to people. It's not just that the FEMA is out there actively blocking people from actually helping, but also now the government is threatening anyone who speaks up, anyone who doesn't like what the government is doing. So there you have it. Not enough to kick people while they're down, but now let's threaten them with imprisonment. Let's threaten them with whatever a price to pay. Anyway, welcome to the New World Order. Admiral Tang, commander of Taiwan's Navy, had an interesting conversation that we need to talk about. He told The Economist in a interview that China wants Taiwan to make a mistake now so it can justify a blockade. And hearing it straight from him saying that they could do a blockade whenever they want to. Calling it the Anaconda strategy, and he said basically that China is ready to effect the blockade any time that they want to, and now they're trying to egg Taiwan into making some sort of political mistake or other kind of mistake that will cause China to have some sort of excuse to lock down this blockade upon them. That is the commander of the Navy of Taiwan's opinion and his information, which is scary. I mean, if he's saying that they could do the blockade and Taiwan couldn't stop them, I think we should probably believe them. This is from Nan. Idaho chemical shelter in place. On the 10th of October, a stay-in-place order was put on the area around Helena Chemical in Gooding, Ohio. They had a fire and they had an immediate alert. It came out 8:07 p.m. Mountain Time. This is an agriculture and chemical company. It seems like one chemical company after the next is having an accident or a fire, and lots of shelter in places happening all over the place. Let me know what you guys think down below. Is it just coincidences, or are we having something more nefarious happening right now, like a cyber attack, or even just a government or something? I don't know. Jay says, I redacted their name. I work as a surgical assistant in Dallas-Fort Worth area. I go to multiple hospitals and surgery centers. Some have reduced the amount of IV bags we can use already. Canceling cases has begun. Rationing for the ones in the hospital, and most elective surgeries are being pushed further down the calendar. So people who need surgeries are actually having them pushed back, as well as people who have the surgeries actually having the bags rationed. This is IV bags, not just rehydration, but also for administering of drugs and other things. Mom of Many Horses says, Steve, thank you for all you do. Please reiterate that people buying respirators follow your link and get 3M products. Now, you don't necessarily need to follow my links if you don't want to, but the point here is buy genuine 3M products. If anyone tries to get a knockoff version, there is a good chance that it will not be as effective. 3M passes tests and is what is used in the industry for air testing and etc. This info came from my son, who is a specialist with air and particle testing. And honestly, there's no real reason to buy a knockoff at this point. 3M makes so many of these masks that, economies of scale and all that. They're not some fancy masks. They're just kind of the industry standard. And so because of that, there's just so many of them out there that they can mass produce them and produce them at a very affordable rate. It ends up being like $16, $17 for a respirator mask without the cartridges. If you get the cartridges, that does cost a bit more, but the cartridges are really the secret sauce. Not secret, but they're the real thing that you need. The mask just kind of is something to put the cartridges on. All right, Honestly Present says local Northern California Walmart has 0 grocery bags. Checker said they hope to have some in by tomorrow. He didn't sound too confident. How do you... It's like a McDonald's not having like wrappers for their burgers. A grocery store doesn't have shopping bags. Seriously, that is absolutely crazy. That's the kind of world that we're getting into right now, where things just don't work anymore. And it's hard not to draw comparisons with the Soviet Union before its collapse. It's just, things just kind of went missing. Things just stopped working. They just couldn't get certain parts. They just show up at the store and certain things are missing, more and more, until basically there wasn't anything left, until everything was in the black market. Lynn says, North Central West Virginia, local grocery store almost out of eggs. So still having egg issues out there. Only had a few dozen of the expensive organic free-range eggs. Prices continue to slowly sneak up, becoming our new normal. Don't you love our new normal? It's fantastic, where we're all equitable. We're all equitably poor. We're all those who are working hard are equitably poor with those who don't work at all, and just all this equitability. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And the eggs. Who would have thought that culling all these millions of chickens that lay eggs would have a knock-on effect to the egg production out there? It's amazing that these things that seem obvious to us do not seem as obvious to government officials. They don't quite get it quite like we do they? They are using their Common Core math to come up with job numbers. They're coming up with using their Common Core math to figure out that we can have 10, 15 million less egg layers and yet still have the same number of eggs. Yeah, about that. Daniel says, I went to Sam's Club in Indianapolis today at 2:30 p.m. Store was nearly out of all meat, and there were at least 300 or more others buying huge cartloads of food, assuming thousands of dollars in food went out the door while me and my family go hungry. This is just insane. We got to do something or it's over. Well, I mean, in a way, you did buy that food, right? Americans did buy that food and are giving it away to people who have come here. Now, I don't know how equitable it is that we're giving all this food and all this money to people that are here when there are people in other places that haven't yet come here, and we're not being equitable to those people yet either. I know the Biden administration is working hard at distributing all of America's wealth around the world equitably, but there are so many people in other places that we haven't given money to yet that they're working very hard to find those people and make sure that they get more of our money. Billy says, update, I've been to Sam's Club in Longview, Texas 2 weeks in a row, and the water has been extremely low. Now, with the disaster situations, that's understandable. But the worst part is that all of the organic chicken has been gone and replaced with just Members Mark chicken. No other options. So removal of organic chicken out there for weeks on end. And here's a wonderful news out of Australia. It's wonderful if you're not in Australia, because you can look at that and say, man, they're crazy over there. I'm glad I don't live there. But if you live there, sorry, this is not good news. Dimbula Blade Works says Australia, mis- and disinformation laws set to be passed with the government, and the folks who own it can decide what is and isn't mis/disinformation. Australia. We have the best government money can buy, and it's been bought time and time again just to prove it. Also, doxing laws will be included. So if a wife names a woman who's been playing games with her husband on social media, so if you accuse somebody of something on social media, that's doxing, and soon to be criminal. If you catch a politician with his hand in the money box and say so, that too is doxing. If you name them. Lovely, huh? So you're just going to have to say a certain politician from Queensland got caught stealing and embezzling money. I can't name who they are because that would be called doxing. You cannot hold people criminally liable for things because that would be... Dimbula Blade Works. Cheers from the Globalist Central. Globalist Central. That's not a great name to have, but I guess that's what it's becoming, huh? William says there are two weather fronts being watched, one coming from Africa and the other in the Caribbean. One or both might develop into a hurricane, and that's the last thing we need right now. This will be for the upcoming week. Also, a very hard cold coming in the next week or two. This also for the next week. Just a heads up for everyone. Yeah, we got weather situations right now that we're recovering from, but we also have weather situations coming in. Nikki from South Carolina. This is kind of a bit of an after-action report and also kind of what's going on right there right now. I wanted to let you know about the situation in and around Blacksburg/Gaffney, South Carolina area. We did have a substantial impact from Helene and were without power for almost 72 hours. And unfortunately, because of those and other types of weather issues are rare in our area, our grocery stores lost all frozen and refrigerated goods. Therefore, when the lights came back on, the stores had to restock everything. Okay, that's the first thing. The issue we saw was that everyone, except us preppers, also had to restock. So we were seeing deliveries being bought up as soon as they were brought back to the store. Family, friends, and neighbors were buying for each other when items become available, and due to the nervousness of what just happened, people were overbuying so that not everyone could get what they needed. Milk has just returned to the shelves in the last 2 days. This is weeks later, of course. On top of the port strikes being analyzed as playing a major role in the supply chain, it was an absolute nightmare to go out and try to get supplies, so we didn't. And if you're a prepper and if you're prepared, that's one of the luxuries is you don't have to go out there and panic buy, right? Thankfully, we have been preparing since finding your channel and others like it. It was truly an eye-opening experience to see just how many people around us are totally unprepared for even a few days disruption. All I can say is, wow, keep up the good work and be encouraged. You are helping so many with your reports. Love from South Carolina, Steve. God bless you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. It's good to know that we're doing some good out there and getting through. Angelique, day 2 without power in Tampa. I'm happy to have a generator for the refrigerator and freezer and power banks to charge my electronics. We had major tree debris, some screen damage, and a soffit peeled a little bit. Nothing catastrophic, thank goodness. I'm grateful I was prepared so I didn't have to scramble for anything. Grocery stores are mobbed and people are running for generators. The stores are running on generators. You're right about the fuel situation. Only 1 in 4 or 5 stations might have fuel. I'm glad your parents are okay. So am I, and I'm so glad that you guys are doing all right out there too. Just for everyone out there, I hope that you guys are doing all right. I know a bunch of you guys are impacted by the storm. I know there's a lot of power outages, and we're starting to get into the window where cell phone towers can start failing too. That makes communications harder. So our hearts and prayers are with you guys down in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. You've gotten hit twice now. Our hearts are with you, and hopefully things start turning the corner for you. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to find out more about Genesis Gold Group and what they can do to help you with your retirement account, there'll be a link right there on the screen. They can get you out of stocks and bonds and into something safer like gold, silver, or platinum physical. Also, if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there on the screen. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.